Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing another Lorwyn Eclipsed Collector Boxed Arena Direct event. If you've never played one of these before, it's our chance to win some physical Magic the Gathering cards by playing digital Magic on Arena. Very high stakes, high reward event, 6,000 gems as the entry fee, and we're playing best of one sealed, cracking open 6 packs of Lorwyn Eclipsed, trying to open better stuff than our opponent, trying to play better than our opponent, trying to draw better than our opponent as well for 7 wins in a row. We have to get 7 wins before only 2 losses in best of 1. So you lose 1 game due to mana issues, and that is all the breathing room you have. You need to win every other game from there. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get there last time, but still had a pretty solid run. Hopefully we can do a little better this time. Again, buyer beware on these events. Very high variance, very high risk. Even the best players in the world are not guaranteed to get close to that box. Famously, LSV in the Avatar: The Last Airbender run spent a whole bunch of money and got no boxes. So no guarantees here, but we get to play some fun, competitive, sealed. Without further ado, let's check out these rares. It looks like we want to play Boros if we can. We have 2 Bree of Clan Stoutarm, a card that I'm very happy to run. It's a 4-mana 4/4. You can spend 2 mana and tap her to give another creature you control flying and lifelink till end of turn. That's already pretty good in board stalls. Super hard to race if you're sending in like a 4-power flyer with lifelink each turn. You're draining them for 4. It's a huge life total swing. Not only that though, you then get to exile cards till you flip a non-land card, and you can cast that non-land card for free if it costs less than the life you gained. So if you hit them for like 3 and you gain 3, then you could cast a 3 mana value spell or less for free. And if it's not castable, you still draw it. So you still draw a card every turn that you gained life. So Bree's really good, and having 2 copies is super wild. Not only that, we actually have kind of a Giants deck here, because we also have Slumbering Walker, which is a great reanimator card. It's a 5-mana 4/7 that comes with 2 -1/-1 counters, but it removes those counters during your end step to reanimate power 2 or less creatures from your graveyard for free. So that's a really nice card if you just have, 2-mana 2/2s in your deck to curve out and end up in your grave by the time you cast this. That's not that hard to do. And last but not least, in red-white here, we also have Curious Colossus, 7-mana 7/7. When it enters, each creature an opponent controls loses all abilities, becomes a coward, and has base power and toughness 1/1. This, I've never played it or played against it yet, but it seems absolutely absurd. Whatever's happening in the game up until then, it's like, all right, now all your stuff's a 1/1, good luck. Yeah, unless you're specifically against like goblins where they already have a bunch of 1/1 tokens out on the board, maybe they won't get hindered that badly by this, but pretty much any other deck, this card's going to be absolutely brutal. So we're really hoping to play red-white here. The one thing about that is we probably don't get to play Champion of Path in red-white because we're not going to have enough elementals in that color pair, but should be super worth it. We've got a couple playable green rares as well, so I can see a splash towards green. We've got the Bridget's Command. Not the most splashable card ever, because it does really want a Kithkin on your board to be as powerful as possible, but we could have some white Kithkin to make that worth it off of the splash. It still is a +3/+3 in fight spell at worst, which is pretty good. And then the Spry and Mighty is a fun one as well. If you have any 1 or 0 power creatures on your board, that's where this could be really good, because you could have your 1/1 and your 7/7, get +6/+6, and draw a bunch of cards. Now that is the magical Christmas land scenario for this card, so you really need to keep that in mind. That when you look at this kind of card, it's really easy to think of the best case scenarios and forget about the worst case scenarios, which is what pulls this card down quite a bit. It is certainly much weaker than every other rare that we've said so far, but it's still an okay card. The reason it's much weaker is you are going to find yourself in board states where you have 3 2/2s on the board, or you have 2 4/4s on the board. Like, these positions happen. Or you just have no creatures on the board and you're trying to top deck a removal, and then this card just does absolutely nothing. In positions like that, it would be better to just draw a 2-mana 2/2, like the most mediocre common 2-mana 2/2, than draw this card. So you have to factor that in when you're figuring out how good you think this card is. It's like the highs are really high. It's going to be super good in the right spot, but sometimes it's going to do literally nothing, which is super painful. So I think it's worse than the rest of the rares, but again, still explosive in certain situations, so still a fun and powerful enough card that I'd probably toss it in here. And then another card that's actually really good is Sig, Wanderwine Wisdom. It just doesn't really line up with our other rares in terms of colors. So unless we're like red, white, splash, blue or something, even then, the power level of Sig is much higher if Sig is in your main color. You don't really want to splash in like 1 and 2 mana cards because you're not going to have the right color to play them until much later in the game where they're much less significant. And I have no idea what this card does. I've never seen this cast either. You may choose a creature type, behold 2 creatures of that type. Search your order for creature mana value, extra less, reveal, put it in your hand, then shuffle. If the spell's additional cost was paid, and the revealed card is the chosen type, put it onto the battlefield instead of putting it into your hand. It's like a Green Sun Zenith. You tutor out whatever creature you want from deck, put it into play. But you have to reveal 2 creatures of the same type. I mean, we've got 4 giant rares. If we have a good chunk of changelings, maybe with the green splash, this could tutor out like a Curious Colossus at 8 mana or something in the right board state. That might actually be playable. Tutoring it into your hand is rough, right? If you're spending 5 mana to put a Bree into your hand, 5 mana, draw 1, yeah, you're going to have a good turn the turn after that, but that's very inefficient. But if you're putting it onto the board, that's just great. So it really depends on the changeling count that we have here. Let's see. Let's check out all of our commons and uncommons now, starting off with the colorless stuff to see what fixing we have. None. We have 1 Rooftop Percher. Oof. What about any signpost uncommons leading us in a specific direction? Out of the multicolored cards, there's a green-white Kithkin card. Noggle Robber could help us out for splashes. We can play that even just off of red alone if we're playing red-white. But if our splash is into green, then this will also be easy to cast because we're also able to cast it off our splash color. And then, of course, the Treasure helping with the splash. Gangly Stompling's another giant. And Prideful Feastling is another giant. But those are the only on-colored giants to Boros here, to red-white. There's a couple Eclipsed Boggarts. If we have a lot of good goblins, then we've got a couple of the Eclipsed card for them, which makes the deck really consistent. So that's pretty impressive. I don't see any world where we end up in blue-black specifically, so sorry, Tome Skimmer. And then we've got 1 Merfolk Lord. Okay, cool stuff. The big stuff to keep in mind there, Noggle Robber and Stompling for the Boros deck. Actually, 2 cards towards goblins. So we'll keep goblins in mind, but I think it's highly unlikely we're doing anything other than a Giants deck, because that's just where all our strong rares lie. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. We immediately have much better removal than we did in our first sealed pool. 2 Liminal Hold, Pyrrhic Strike, and Crib Swap. That is 4 removal spells in 1 color. The first color we looked at has as much removal as our entire first sealed pool did. So I'm really happy to see that. That said, Crib Swap can get out of here. If we have way better removal spells like Liminal Hold and Pyrrhic Strike, I am not running Crib Swap. This card has big issues. You want your removal spells to be 1-for-1s at worst, and this is worse than a 1-for-1. You are giving your opponent something back, and the fact that it is a changeling means it is something that could be potentially relevant back. Even if it was just a 1-1, it would not be that good in sealed and draft. Any of the removal spells, like the blue removal spells that turn your opponent's creature into like a 1-1 with no abilities, have just historically been super bad. Unless they're only like 1 mana, then they're okay. It's really easy to underestimate how giving your opponent even just a 1-1 back is makes the removal significantly worse. But it's because like a big part of what makes removal powerful is, you know, the same thing that makes a 2-mana 2/2 more powerful than it looks is that it does at least something in basically any point of the game. Early on, you're going to play it out, you're going to get curving out, you're going to get aggressive, but late in the game, it's at least a chump blocker. If not, you can block with it and like another one of your creatures to double block something, right? So it stays relevant at any point in the game. Most removal spells, the best removal spells, like Pyrrhic Strike and Liminal Hold, follow that mindset. They're good at any point in the game. If you're in an aggressive lead, use this to clear out their 2-mana 2/2 or 3-mana 3/3 and get a blocker out of the way and push damage. That's perfectly fine to do, but they also help you stabilize when your opponent plays a great bomb rare against you. You can go ahead and clear that out with that. Crib Swap does not have that flexibility. It's essentially only good when your opponent has the good bomb and you're on the defensive and you need to clear out that specific card. If you're in the aggressive lead and your way to clear out their blocker is a crib swap and you're giving them back a 1/1 that can then help double block or anything like that, you're having a very bad spot. This is infinitely worse than any other removal spell in the set, and I would try to never play it. So just wanted to go on a little spiel specifically about crib swap. I know that it's a bit of a ramble here, but I've gotten a lot of comments from a lot of different people that love crib swap, so I wanted to point out why I do not like running crib swap and what makes it much worse than all of the other removal spells. Anyways, the rest of our white here, we've got a couple Moonlit Lamenters that are actually really good for what our white rares are trying to do, the Curious Colossus and Slumbering Walker. These are the kind of rares that are going to just dig, or the kind of creatures that are going to dig through our deck a little bit and slow down the game, having 5 toughness after we draw the card off of them. So they're kind of perfect to buy time to get to these high mana value late game rares. Not only that, but they have 2 or less power to be reanimated by the Slumbering Walker. So very happy to see double Moonlit Lamenter to go with the Slumbering Walker, the Pyrrhic Strike and the double Liminal Hold for great removal. The rest of our cards in the color are quite filler, the Shore Lurkers, the Foul Knight, the Vaulters, Preachers, and Nomad. But we'll run some amount of filler because the rest of it is excellent. These 7 cards together are very good, and they synergize well as well. Checking out our blue now, there's less blue cards here, but they are reasonable ones. We've got some Merfolk going on between Mentor and Sig. Not quite enough to make a full Merfolk deck. We've got some interaction with Temporal Cleansing and a Swat Away. But again, our white looks significantly better, and Sig being the only big draw to the color means it's not super likely. Checking out our black now. Could do some black-white blight nonsense, having both the Gnarlbark Elms as well as the Moonlit Lamenters. 2 copies of each. That's pretty fun if we play a lot of blight, but we don't really have a lot of blight in these colors, it looks like. We can put -1/-1 counters on our own creatures with Pyrrhic Strike, and that is it for blighting. So yeah, there's really no reason to try to do that. And that's the only thing really going for our black. There's a Blight Rot, there is a removal spell, but then it's like mid-combat tricks, Reanimator spell, and a bunch of mid-creatures. Black's not doing much here. What about red? Double Feed the Flame for more removal spells, and a Giant Fall for more removal. We also have the double Striking Giant when all of our rares, not all of them, most of our rares are giants. I'll certainly play the aggressor. Brambleback Brute's another giant for us. Okay, I'm getting really excited about Boros. Our mana curve is not going to be perfect. We're low on early stuff, so we're going to be a slower seal deck than we were the first time, but we have great removal and really good top end this time around. I am quite into the red here. Great removal spells, some giant synergy, another good top end card, and a little bit of reasonable filler, the Brute and the Slinger. It's not a whole lot of cards, though. The quantity of cards here is pretty low. I guess we play some Ransackings, but with the less aggressive mana curve, they're much worse in this deck than they were the first time around. This is a light enough amount of cards here that we might be splashing into green as well, like mandatorily. I guess I haven't been looking at the multicolored cards when I'm considering these colors. If we're playing red and white, that is massive. That is a chunk of these hybrid mana cards. Yeah, even just in red and white, we get access to all these spells. We'll have more than enough creatures than just Boros, but we won't have enough 2-mana plays still. Splashing into a third color doesn't help you get more 2-mana plays, though. You don't want to play 2-mana cards in your splash color, so the curve's gonna kind of be awkward no matter what, but we'll have plenty of good cards even in just red-white if we want. What about green, last but not least? Yeah, I mean, there's literally no elves, so Morkant Size doesn't do anything. Unforgiving Aim, pretty bad. Spry Mighty and Midnight Tilling, we don't really have synergies for directly. I mean, I can still play the Spry and Mighty. I don't think we're doing green here. The one thing that we could maybe do with green is to splash it in and play like Celestial Reunion and maybe a Spry and Mighty. We've got the green rare as well, the Brigid's Command. But the flaw with the color is that the most exciting thing going on in this color is Great Forest Druid, which you have to have as one of your core colors to do it. right? You need to be able to have at least like 8 forests in your deck so that you're consistently playing this on turn 2 and getting the fixing out of it. But green's just not a deep enough color to play as the core, splashing in like the red or the white. So I'm just going to go Boros again. I don't think I ever would have expected to just play Boros twice in a row, but that's how these sealed pools have lined up. I mean, it's hard to argue with double Bree as well as double white rare to go alongside her. Kind of forced our hand on this one. Our last sealed pool, I think, there could be slight arguments to be made in other directions, but I'm quite happy with the deck we ended up playing. This sealed pool, I don't think you can even really argue too much towards any other color pair. Okay, so here's 53 reasonable cards. We got 13 of them. Looks like a lot of 3-mana stuff is going to be the main stuff we want to cut. I kind of want to cut the double ransacking as well, because with the low amount of 1 and 2 mana creatures, we're not going to be combat tricked until quite a bit later, so I kind of just be on all removal here. 6 removal spells and a bunch of creatures. Combat tricks certainly go down in value without 2-drops trying to trade off early. So Tributary Vaulter without a bunch of merfolk seems like a pretty guaranteed cut. Let's keep that giant count as high as we can with the Brambleback Brute and the Changeling Feastling. We have a tiny bit of Blight synergy, trying to put these counters onto the Moonlit Lamenters, but anytime that we don't specifically have Moonlit Lamenter on the board, I think Chaos Spear is going to be pretty bad. That's like the one card that really likes it. Brambleback Brute's okay with getting blighted onto, but it's not like monumentally happy about it. Yeah, and then Bone Club Berserk, we're not playing a lot of goblins. Foul Knight you can play in non-Kithkin deck. It still gives ++0 to everybody, but it's certainly less exciting. Ooh, Slumbering Walker can reanimate a Boldweir Aggressor. It's kind of cool. All right, let's cut these 6 for sure. Still 5 cuts to go, mainly going to be 3 and 4 mana cards. I don't love having a double white 3-drop and a double red 3-drop, and I think the double red one's a lot better, giving us those treasures. Because it's a lot easier to cast these if you can focus more up on one color. Like if we go 9-8 split in white's favor, we can play the double white one a little more often, and if we go 9-8 split in red's favor, we play the red one more often. So I kind of want to push towards a 9-8 split in red's favor for Noggle Robber here, which would mean dropping the double white card and some of the filler white creatures primarily, like some of these 4-drops. I think that's fine. Maybe the Feastling, although I like its creature type quite a bit. It's also 2 power or less, which is relevant for Slumbering Walker. Also, it's relevant with Bree. We've got 2 copies of Bree, and this is one of our only cards that can gain life. Well, one of our few cards that can gain life. Wow, actually, we're a really good Bree deck. Okay, we have double Liminal Hold that can trigger Bree without attacking. Wanderbrine Creature that can trigger Bree by attacking, whether or not it gets blocked. And Prideful Feasting can trigger Bree. Rooftop Percher can trigger Bree too. Okay, yeah, I'm going to leave the Lifelinker in and just be really good at triggering Bree, I guess. I like that Brambleback Brute is a giant to go with the Boldweir Aggressor, but maybe I should give up on that. It's cute, but we have 6 giants and 3 changelings. That's 9 cards this gives double strike to. 8, because it already gives it to itself, so I don't need to count itself. So 8 other cards. I mean, we give double strike to Rooftop Perch. We give double strike to Bree. Just 4/4 double strike, just send Bree in. Yeah, no, I'm going to leave the changelings and the giants in. That seems like it could high roll super well. Which means maybe cutting Stingslinger for not having relevant creature types. I mean, out of all the 3-drops, I think Lamenters are really good value. And then the rest have good creature types, or again, like Noggle Robber being really good value with those treasures. The sad part of cutting Stingslinger is that I don't have that like Stingslinger Lamenter combo or the Stingslinger Brute combo. They're kind of slow combos, but they can give us a lot of value over time if we manage to draw them together and set it up. But I suppose, like, if we set these to the side, imagine drawing a Sting Slinger in any hand that doesn't have those, and it's super filler. 3 mana, 3/3 with basically no ability at that point. Yeah, I think we can cut Sting Slinger. And just get the straight up value off these cards rather than blighting onto them with anything other than the Pyrrhic Strike. So, cut 5 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep 1 flyer just because flying plays well in these board stalls that we can end up in sealed. Looks pretty reasonable to me. Pretty awkward mana curve, but that's what a lot of sealed decks look like. But some very good removal, some high bomb power with Breeze, some good giant synergies. Pretty fun, powerful looking deck. We'll double check that mana base. We're on 10-14 still. I kind of wanted to go 9-8 split for Noggle Robber, but the way that we ended up cutting it is still a 9-8 split in White's favor. Do I end up just cutting Noggle Robber? There's no way. Even if I can't play it till turn 4 or 5, it still helps hit Curious Colossus and Zealot and stuff. Is there any way to cut more white cards for red cards? Like, what red cards am I not playing? The Sting Slinger. I could cut the Shore Lurker for another Sting Slinger and just have no 4-drops, just double Bree, just a bunch of 3-mana stuff. The mana curve's already pretty awkward. I probably shouldn't be too locked in on it. Sure, I'll play Sting Slinger for synergy over Shore Lurker. That gets us to, I don't know why it keeps highlighting cards way over here. That gets us to 13 white cards and 11 red. Anything else we can swap? Not particularly. Our first sealed pool just didn't have removal spells. This sealed pool just doesn't have 2-mana creatures. Our only color with 2-mana creatures is blue. Black has 0. White has 2. Red has 0. Green has 1. Yeah. That is sealed. Yeah, just some random 2-mana 2/2s or 2-mana 2/1s in red I'd be very happy for here, but don't have those options. Okay, we don't need double white until turn 5 or later, so I am going to go 9-8 in red's favor for Noggle Robber. Off of the 13-11 split, close to 50-50. As close as we can get without being literally 50-50. If I cut 1 more white card for 1 more red card, we're literally 50-50 on the colors. So we'll go in Noggle Robber's favor here, go 9-8 split, call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, and see how far this one can take us. Here we are on the draw for game number 1. A very reasonable hand to get us started off. There's Sting Slinger, Brambleback Brute for a very slow combo if we want to set that up. Playing against black-green, likely an Elves deck. Lysolana Dignitary hits the board. So if they get an elf into their grave, that'll tap for double green, and it's revealing a Scarblade Scout, unfortunately, which means that that could mill 2 and then immediately give them an elf, in which case they've essentially played a Soul Ring against us, and we're going to have to deal with them casting 5 mana worth of spells on turn 3. They did mill an elf. Well, yeah, that's efficient. Well, this is bad. We'll drop a Brambleback Brute and yes. This is going to be one of those just sit here and block as much as we can, praying we last till 7 mana kind of games, because they are on an explosive start here. There's a Grove Guide already, the 5/4 that makes it 2/2 when it dies. Makes it 2/2 from the graveyard. Probably will need to trade the Gangly Stompling into that, just to slow them down, even if they can get a 2/2 back out of the deal. So it is a favorable trade for our opponent. Mist Meadow Council to draw a card. Well, we're certainly drawing enough mana. We are going to make it to Curious Colossus. Still holding up blocks here. I'm just getting the Brambleback Brute to higher toughness and getting ready to set up the Stingslinger Brute combo, where I can keep putting counters on the Brute and removing them anyway. 4 damage from the Mist Meadow Council. Is the Stingslinger Brute combo good enough here to not just trade into the 4-3 with my 3-3? Well, when I could turn it into a 1-1 with Curious Colossus, it probably is. Waiting a turn. And then getting the 4-5 to hold it off. The Curious Colossus is going to kill the Moon Shadow because it has -1/-1 counters on it. Any of their creatures with -1/-1 counters on them will just kind of automatically die. So kill one of these. I guess it's less bad for me if they have the trick or whatever, if I just try to kill the 4-3 instead of trying to kill the Menace card, and then them having like the Death Touch trick or something. Or the Trample Indestructible trick. Yeah, this would have been worse for me on a double block. I'm just going to take 1 less damage instead of pinging them for 2 here. All right, let's kill Moon Shadow. Oh, we're drawing literally all lands. Kill Moon Shadow and hope we can block all these 1/1s. One of them is a 3/1 because of the enchantment, but you know. Oh, they do lose all abilities, so they don't have Menace anymore or Trample anymore. Nice. Okay, well, now we're flooded. But somewhat stable. Gathering Stone changes that real quickly. That is a card draw engine for our opponents, so the longer this game lasts, the more likely they are to win, as they will be drawing 2 cards a turn every now and then, whenever there's an elf on top of their deck, and even when there isn't, they get to surveil it into the grave. It's really good. There's a Feed the Flames for us. I have enough life here to start sending with Curious Colossus. It's my only creature that blocks Graspling without dying. I could Feed the Flames the Graspling. I really don't think I'm in a position to do that. I might get double block Graspling with a 3/3 and a 1/2, but then their other stuff's getting in. I need more spells before I can do anything on the current board. Reaping Willow's a big yikes. It's going to reanimate Extractor or Moon Shadow. Alright, we found our Feed the Flames target then. There we go. Flying lifelink on Curious Colossus the turn after this is the plan. One card left in their hand. Send in the Shimmer Creep to get it in their grave. Pick up 2 elementals, sure. Play the Shimmer Creep and drain us, and I get a Menacer. Yep. Well, I'm gonna gain 7 here, so. Oh! How does that happen? Bree 2 cards in a row. I'll be at 14. They have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 power on board. I mean, you go for it. I'd actually be happier if they chumped than if they let it through. They do not chump. Alright, anything we hit we'll just immediately cast. Preacher, there we go. Perfect. Get a blocker. I guess literally every card in our deck affects the board state. Every single card in our deck is either a creature or a removal spell. So Bree draws are guaranteed to be relevant. That's close to lethal. That is really, really bad. Okay. Yeah, our blocks are quite rough here. Gold Meadow Nomad is going to give me another chumper still, so I could do this. Take 6, go to 8. Make sure I play at least one more blocker. Tap these two. I have 2 blockers, and I gain another 7. So take 6 down to 8, gain 7 back to 15. 15 life with 2 blockers up. 3 blockers up because Bree's guaranteed to hit 1. 15, I got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, no, that'll be a little smaller. It'll get 2 more counters here. No, 1 more counter. It only triggers once. Even if 2 permanents are put, if they're both die at the same time, it only gets 1 counter removed. Yeah, this works. This will be fine. We live the crackback here. Oh, it is triggering twice. Oh, maybe it's because it's an enchantment? We flood. It's probably because it's an enchantment. But I've had a position where 2 creatures have died on one board before, and it's only triggered 1 time. Be pretty reasonable. No, it wouldn't. I was going to say it'd be pretty reasonable to send in Wanderbrine Preacher instead, but it actually would not be because they have the reach creature. They would eat it. If it weren't for that, then it'd be reasonable. 3/3 menace or 3/5 menace. This does 5 damage, right? Yeah, so we can't kill the Basher. I think I kill the Moon Shadow because that's just going to get bigger. Alright, they surveil to the top. That is what we call not good. Kill a Preacher and jam. 15 life, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Take it and then attack for 12. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Maths for blockers, attack for 12. There you go. That is 1-0 heading into game 2. Here we are for game 2. We've got both of our colors. We don't start till turn 3, so it'll be a bit slow here, especially on the draw. But we keep a hand with both colors and a Bree. Drawn to a Giant Fall, technically 2 mana, but we're not really going to cast it until we have a creature on the board anyway. Unless they play like a really good artifact somehow on turn 2. Playing against green-white, and they start with Eclipsed Kithkin. So some Kithkin synergy rolling out, and they draw a Kithkin rare off of it. Well, it's going to be a scary start. 2/2 first strike lifelink. Whenever it attacks, they can dump another creature from their hand onto the board, tapped and attacking for free. And because we're on the draw, we can't play any removal on it till turn 4, so we're going to get slammed next turn. We can at least drop out a 2/3 blocker, so if they don't have a combat trick to buff that sentry, That does hold off its attack. Holds off the trigger here. They could have the 4 mana 3/4 that gives everybody +1/+0 till end of turn, and that would be pretty bad for us. All right, they're going to have the combat trick here to eat the brute and gain some life, or else they absolutely wouldn't have attacked there, so I'm just going to let that happen. And then we'll set up to block it next turn, but we're going to block it with Giant Fall mana up. So then in response to them trying to use a trick on it, we kill it first. Feels better to me than just running out of Bree before they've played any removal. Alright, they're just going to hard cast a Pummeler. And pass through, that's fair enough. Go ahead and Giant Fall the Sentry while they're tapped out then. Be mana efficient, kill that, and then feed the Pummeler to the flames. I could save the Giant Fall, so I have more removal. I think this is fine. Midnight Tilling, mill 4, pick up a permanent. They can get a removal spell or a Dundulin Weaver. Wow, the Weaver's good here. They can play the Weaver and pick up removal with it. Alright, so if we play Bree, Bree's going to die to that. So let's run out our other stuff first. That was wild. It's a really good Tilling. For the 2-for-1 with the Weaver. Yep, picks up the Liminal Hold. As you do. Send in the 4/3. Well, I'm going to draw one card off of Bree no matter what now. If I just go play Bree, attack with Preacher. Let's get this combat trick out of the way. I don't hate cast Bree, draw a card off of attacking with Preacher, and then let them kill her, because we do have a second copy in the deck. That gets us a 2-for-1 here. If they have Personify, that will be absolutely gnarly. Exile Weaver, put it back on the board, pick up another card from grave, play another 1/1, the extra 1/1, then buffs the Watcher. Okay, it's just a first strike trick, that's fine. Well, the fact that it was an untapped trick is actually brutal. I mean, that was the perfect card to have there. We have to Lamenter then. We could have gone Bree and Nomad if they only had 2 power or 2 toughness blockers up. Which obviously would have been so much better, but what can you do? Alright, Liminal Hold's out of the way, so now we can just run out of Bree. They might attack with Watcher as well. And then we do get to send in the Preacher. Yep, even with a 4/2. Get the Bree draw, baby. You love to see it. Go to 11. Take some damage for this. They're not on black. I'm going to keep playing lands. Get my card draw. They should probably take this trade. They're not going to. Ooh, never mind. Yeah, that's true. Like, any spell we could hit would be a creature here, but we only gained 2 life, so if I gained... Wow. GG. If I hit anything that costs more than 2, then it would have been better for them to just trade off, because then if there's no other creatures on my board, Bree doesn't ever trigger at all. But we got really lucky with that Bree hitting a 2-drop specifically. Not only a 2-drop, but a one that gains life. So then if they took the trade, it would have actually been awful for them. So they did end up making the right play there by a lot. And then we just top deck Curious Colossus, like, whoop, guess I'll win. Good rares are good, and we are now 2-0 heading into game 3. Here we are for game 3 of the Forced Mulligan. 3 plains, 4 red spells. 3 mountains, 3 red spells, and a Feastling here. The Zealot also land cycles, so I think we ditch a mountain and then land cycle to turn Zealot into a plain, so we keep mountain, plains, Feastling, Bree, Bold, Weir, Aggressor, which is a good curve. Feastling into Bree into Aggressor. Yeah, we keep 6, ditch a mountain, because now it's mountain, plains are the 3 lands in hand. Yes. If we naturally draw the plains, then obviously we're even happier. But I might still want to land cycle Zealot, even if I do. Okay, certainly if I don't draw the plains. Playing against a Goblin's deck, they start with a Curse Tosser and a Vile Boggart. Okay, well, I have 4 mana no matter what. I don't think we land cycle Zealot then. Worst case scenario is not Bold Weir Aggressoring turn 5, and that's only if I draw 0 more lands in the next 3 draw steps. And if I draw 0 lands in the next 3 draw steps, I'm pretty much guaranteed to have drawn some kind of spells to have played instead. Alright, here's Feastling. There's Blightrot on Feastling. We'll take another 3 next turn. They are hitting us hard here. Down to 12. Alright, no more creatures from our opponent. Luckily, here's Bree. And they land cycle a Zealot. Grab a second red source. Probably play the double red Auntie or something. Something double red, maybe. Grub's Command. Destroy creature, mill 5, pick up all the goblins. They hit 1 4/2 trample. Here's a double striking blocker. Is this power 2 or less? Power 2 or less? That is awkwardly good against Aggressor. I have to lead with Liminal Hold, I think. Because then our 5-drop Aggressor is dying to a Curse Tosser if they blight onto it. Yeah, I gotta lead with Liminal Hold. Slightly embarrassing. You gotta do what you gotta do, though. If we hit the 6 mana for Zealot, we're gonna play Zealot before Aggressor, because that could lead into 7 mana. Double spelling with those 2. Oh, they got the +3/+2 trick. That's so brutal, because it's revealed too, but I still kind of have to block badly here. Because, I mean, what do? I mean, I block their 1/1 with my 6/5, then they hit me for 9 and get a treasure, or I chump block to take 1 instead. But I don't kill the Zealot because it has 7 toughness. That was such a hit. Zealot's the only reasonable play. Aggressor is worse because I could double spell next turn. And they're both going to block the same way. They either chomp or block a 1/1. Okay. Alright, well I get to play Aggressor plus Giantfall next turn, which is big. Going to 1 against a red deck. I think it's our only option because if I don't, Aggressor plus Giantfall doesn't kill Zealot, so I just chump block Zealot again. So I have to just block Boggart, take 9, go to 1, and just really cross my fingers. Because the other plan is chump chump. Just realize they get to kill this either way if they choose to combat trick up on my creature instead of my face, which is rough. But Slumbering Walker was an incredible draw. Lifelinking little chumper here. That's also going to gain me a couple life off the Giantfall. Deal X to each opponent and each creature they control. I can gain 2 to not die with Giant Fall. That actually really blows them out if they don't have instant speed removal. Because the Slumbering Walker lives here. It'll have to trade into Zealot, but they were planning to win the game on the spot. Now they definitely didn't. Okay, I mean, we got Mythic real hard, still survived it. So that's much better than nothing. It's not a good spot. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but a lot better than it could have been. There's a flyer. So if we miss, we're dead. We didn't miss. We did not miss. We even gained some life. Still can't afford to send in though. Go from 4 to 2 if I do. That can afford to send in. That's going to be a big deal. If they don't remove any counters from the Santi. We drew the lifelinking Wanderbrine Preacher. It's not exactly lifelink, but you get the gist. Alright, let's draw our card from Lamenter pre-combat to see if that changes anything. They do have an instant of some kind. If they combat trick or removal spell Preacher, that's okay. Especially with another Lamenter. Or if they have like the Flash 2/2 or something here. Gains 2 and hits them. Really good work from Preacher. There's Eclipsed Boggart to dig through their deck for a goblin or a land. Does find a Sizzling Changeling, so they got double creature off the top that turn. Very good draw for them, like our Lamenter was for us. That also holds off the Preacher. Here's a Flying Double Striker. That is actually a really, really good play on this board. Could also rip away some of their graveyard to prevent that graveyard recursion. If they have the Pennant to bring back a goblin of any kind, the Pennant can bring back spells too. So I'm going to hit Grub's Command. So if they have the Pennant, they can't bring it back. I don't think they can bring Soul Immolation back with anything, but they could Pennant back the command. So I think I hit like Grub's Command and like one of the Zealots or something. I guess getting back one Zealot's already brutal. But if they have like Unbury to bring back 2 creatures of the same type, yeah, I'm going to go Zealot and Grub's Command here. I think those are the most likely cards for them to be reanimating. This actually might be an okay spot to now attack with the aggressor. Curse Tosser, well, there goes aggressor as soon as they have Blight. Hitting them for 6 a turn in the sky. There's our Exile removal spell to help stay safe. Now we can't attack with aggressor, they just block and first strike kill the... We first strike kill Curse Tosser, which then kills aggressor. Alright, well, it's back to a top deck war. We're not doing any damage then. Because they did have removal for the flyer. The Flying Double Striker. Do I have to exile this Curse Tosser? I can't just let it in forever. And if I kill it, aggressor dies, unless I specifically exile it. But if I exile it, I don't have my exile removal for a bigger threat. And I'm still stable with a bunch of 2/5s, so it might just be trade Curse Tosser for aggressor here and go from there. I think it's trade and go from there. Hold on to Feed the Flames. Glad I did. That thing is gigantic. I don't think I can, at instant speed, make it small enough to make a double block particularly good. I mean, 2/2/5s, we trade a single creature into it. Just a land off the top. Wow, okay. Double Bone Club Berserker in a row it is. Attack all would be actually quite bad for us. They attack with just one. Kill both Berserkers for a Feed the Flames and Elementor. Doing the best we can with what we've got here. But we're running out of gas. We're just hitting all lands. Plains and pass. I got free reign to attack all now. Yeah, I mean this is awful. This is falafel. Surveil Landgrave hit their own Bold Weir Aggressor as the only giant we've seen. They've got shapeshifters. And that's dead. Just flooded here. Yeah, that's dead on board. Gross draws. That's brutal. All right. I think we played that one out really well overall. That lasted crazy long for the kind of stuff they were drawing and playing there, and they're just still top decking straight gas. I mean, good Heirloomancy work giving them the extra surveils, but brutal last few draw steps for us. Gonna lose that game. We still had some pretty big outs in there. Our second Bree and our Curious Colossus being the kind of guaranteed winners, but instead just like 4 lands in a row for the last 4 draws. That is part of magic. 2-1 it is, heading into game number 4. This hand is loaded, but it doesn't do anything till turn 4. I think we just keep it. We have like 9 or 10 3-mana cards in the deck, so we just hope to draw any of those. We only have 2 2-drops, so drawing the Preacher is beautiful to get us started. Very lucky draw. And we've only got the 1/1 drop, but we drew it on turn 2, which is obviously awkward. That means we're not going to play it till turn 3, but it's still good. Add the stack of stuff to do. Oof. All right. This is looking really bad. Opponent has an aggro curve out here. Prankster into Chaos Spewer on the play. Yeah, I mean, I chump or go to 12 already. That is so much damage so fast. They got a removal spell here to blow up Lamentor too. No, another Chaos Spewer, okay. Kill Prankster, just have a couple 5/4s. Yep. Yep. That is bad. Got a Slumbering Walker coming up, so we can do some chumps and reanimate afterward. I think I need to get enough power on the board to block and kill. Block and trade into the Spewers. I'm in a bad enough spot. It might not be crazy to run out Bree and just trade Bree into a 5/4 at this rate. But if the plan is to block and kill a 5/4 this turn, it's better to do so with my Lamentor and Preacher than my Bree. So I think the plan is block and kill one of these Spewers, but we'll do it with Lamentor instead. We'll get blown out by a removal spell or combat trick either way. Whether we're trying to trade a 4/4 into a 5/4 or the 2/5 and 2/2 into a 5/4. Yep. Go to 7. Okay. Wouldn't be crazy to chump with Nomad there either. Auntie's Sentence. Well, there goes Slumbering Walker probably. I mean, if we don't hit a land, then Bree's the only card that matters. But Noggle Robber gives us the treasure for the rest of these. This is a very difficult choice for our opponent. I think Slumbering Walker is our best way to stabilize here, but it's not guaranteed. I need to calm myself down and think analytically here. I want so badly to play this Bree, but I need to think if it's actually the play. Okay, let's see. We would play Bree. I don't think we attack with Preacher here. I mean, I go to 9. 9 life with a 4/4 and a 1/2, and I draw a card. 9 life, 1/2 on the 1/1/4/4 on the 5/4. I kind of think we do play the Bree. Right, if we just live, we win hard. So playing Bree just to draw 1 and trade into Spewer is more than good enough. I promise this isn't just because it's the funniest play. I think it's also right. I stopped myself. I went into brain mode. And still decided it's Bree. Okay, Boggart Mischief's pretty bad. Boggart Mischief's really, really bad. There we go, baby. Do I gain life immediately? Or just play 2 blockers? I think I just want to gain life instantly. I've already got enough with just a 3/3, a 2/2, and a 1/2. That's already enough. Let's just gain some life. With Boggart Mischief, threatening pings. Liminal hold the Boggart Mischief worst case scenario now. Deck is clutching up, baby. Pyrrhic Strike is actually so good here. It's kind of unreasonable. It's gonna blow up the Mischief and another one of their threats later. Can't kill a Lewin, so we'll have to liminal hold the Lewin. The Lewin making any lands they draw into 3/1/1s. Boggart Cursecrafter to go with the Mischief is so much ping. Okay, but now I drew the Curious Colossus here. But if I play Curious Colossus and then they go Cursecrafter attack all, we're dead? Because Boggart Mischief plus Cursecrafter pings? I have to kill Mischief right now to not die. So we play Liminal Hold and hold up Pyrrhic Strike. Liminal Hold Lewin holding up Pyrrhic Strike to then kill like Feastling and Mischief. I could just hold Liminal Hold, but then I'm letting them do Lewin stuff. I think I'm going to go Liminal Lewin. I need 5 blockers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, no, I Pyrrhic Strike one of them. I only need 4 blockers, so I can hit them with somebody. Yeah, but they could just drain back. And then also make the flyer smaller. Yeah. They go to the end step. Well, we'll see what they're holding up, I guess. So I'm going to cast this. Okay, we're good. And then there's Feed the Flames for the Curse Crafter. Ooh, scary games today, but we are now 3-1. That is another positive record in these Arena Direct events, leaving with at least some of our entry fee coming back to us as we head into round number 5. All right, here we are on the draw again. Nothing until turn 3, but I'm gonna keep it. Double removal, both colors. Some top and power. Playing against blue-white, that is pretty aggressive deck. We're just gonna draw all of our high mana value rares. I need my cheap creatures. Give me anything that costs 3, please. I don't need more power. I just need low mana values. These are not low mana values. All right. Well, we Pyrrhic Strike a Guide at least. I'm just gonna do that while they're tapped out. We need to make sure that's dead. Because if we survive, we pop off. So I'm going to do everything I can to survive. Which may even be Feed the Flames and get 2/2 at this rate. 2 cards in their hand. Alright, we run out of Bree. It forces removal. If they don't have removal, we could go land into Percher. Alright. I think that's better than Feed the Flames and a Shield Bearer. Alright, it is Temporal Cleansing, fair enough. I'm actually ditching Bree, I just need lands. Go to 11. You're not a land. 1 blocker or Feed the Flames. It's actually better to play the 2/2 than the 3/3 if I'm just playing 1 blocker here. No, I think I still have to play the 3/3 because then if they go land, they can make their board 3/3s. I think I have to Feed the Flames. This is embarrassing. Because if I play a 3/3, they could just go land, activate, attack with 2 3/3s and a 2/4. That's not good for me. If I just play a Preacher, if they don't hit a land, sure, I trade into a 2/2, but if they do, then I can't even block anything well. There's Shore Lurker now, but I've got Percher for that since they can't buff their board anymore if we can hit lands. Somehow the Stingslinger is not a reach creature. Oh my god. Jack, I know you can do this. Here's Moonlit Lamenter. So all we can do is cast 1 spell there, so might as well play the spell that may let us draw a card next turn to get closer to lands. Take 4. And they've got the removal spell. Plus another rare flyer. And we're dead. I'm at 6 life, exiling one of their creatures. I guess they hit for 5, not 6. I don't think anything can get us out of this, though. So they're also drawing 3 cards this turn. Absurd. Alright, well, what can you do? Our 2 losses of the day were mana related. This hand could really, really stabilize hitting a land just a turn or 2 faster. I mean, two turns faster, I think we could definitely win. 1 turn faster would still be a bit iffy, but there were a lot of no land turns in a row there. And our first loss was the last 4 turns in the top deck were just hitting lands all in 1 clump. So that's going to happen to any deck there. I think this was definitely the best color pair to play, definitely the best deck to play. Just the same issues that can happen to any deck in some best-of-1 games. You get mana issues in a couple games and you are completely out of the Arena Direct. That is all it takes. I thought this deck was pretty great. 6 removal spells, tons of really good top-end power. The big flaw of the deck is the lack of early plays, and this sealed pool is awful on that front. There's really not much we could do about that. The only color that we could play that has early game at all is blue. And I think the power difference between the power of our average blue card versus the power of our average Boros card is much more than big enough to justify playing the color with the worse curve, because Double Bree, Colossus, and Slumbering Walker all being massive reasons to be in these colors individually, let alone when you stack them all up together. So, all right. Not only that, but these are our most removal heavy colors: double Liminal Hold and Pyrrhic Strike, and then double Feed the Flames and Giant Fall. Yeah, I do not think a blue version of this deck, even though it does have more early stuff, is a better version of the deck. There was only one loss that we died because we didn't have enough early game plays, and it was because we couldn't hit the 5th mana. The other loss was because we hit too many lands in the end game. So, like, sure, even if I had more early stuff, that only saves us from one of the 2 losses. So, yeah, I'm confident in this version of the deck as the best version of the deck, and I don't think there's anything we could have done gameplay-wise in those 2 losses. Certainly not the second loss. That was a fast enough game that no matter how we do it, we were dead. The first loss was a long enough game that really minor decisions at early points in the game can stack up into a lot of differing board states later on, so maybe there's something I'm just completely not noticing in our first loss, because that was like a 17-turn game or something insane. But the second loss, for sure, I mean, that just happens. All right. It is what it is. This was not the run to be. This was just another positive win rate run, which means we're spewing gems instead of winning boxes, because Lord knows you have to win 90% of games to actually get a box. Can't just be doing quite well, because doing quite well is losing your monies. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.